Vin.
I'm sorry.
That's Lavi.
And Salty and Chip.
See that
Lavi's recuperating from his dump onto the floor.
Because of this one.
Are you serious right now?
Dead ass serious. You're a terrible, terrible person.
Babe, I was sitting here editing. And then you, with your legs
I'm not going to
and
argue.
your ass, went by and the whole thing crashed over.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay, well, that's the thanks I get for all the editing I do.
This is him.
He was like, let's do him. I'm like, babe.
I promised the people I would do another hymn song.
Well, before you promise the people, you should talk to your wife.
It's true. I apologize. Yeah, we had a rough...
I hope this is a good one.
There was a giant jihad in the comment section. Because
we didn't like it. Did they say we were listening to the wrong one?
Well, some people were saying it was the wrong one. Other people were saying, one guy said I was jealous.
Jealous of what?
I don't know. But,
okay.
You know. Well, the thing is, I told the guy, I was having a conversation with a guy. He's like, I'm like close to unsubbing. And I said, look, you know, you got to do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. And if you want a channel that's always going to like the music that you like, then we're not the ones. I think we've probably made cheeseburgers out of a lot of sacred cows here.
We have. And we're not doing it on purpose. We're not like, hey, let's make a show where we can...
No.
We're just genuinely acting.
Genuinely acting.
Genuinely...
Reacting.
What's the word? Reacting. Babe. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of times when people like... I've always said it when people say things like, you're so open-minded or that. Like, many people don't really value open-mindedness and things like that when it comes to their favorite song or their favorite band.
You remember that time? I'm distracted because I said genuinely acting. Remember that time that there was that guy that was like, he was like asking people for money. He was like some kind of a pastor or something.
Yeah.
And then he was like, the devil made me. I mean.
Yeah, the televangelist guy.
Yes.
He said that the devil told him to ask for the money.
Look, I'm gonna add it in right now.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Freudian slip.
Right. So then I was like. That's all I could hear when I said, we're genuinely acting.
Shout out to that fucked up pastor.
Oh my God. I hope you repented for that.
Your money perish with you.
Yeah, really.
But yeah. So I was like, you know.
We can't.
There's nothing we could do about it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I didn't like the song that joined me in Death Line. I didn't like it. You know what's fun? I still gave it a high ranking. Because I was able to separate how I felt from it. I think I gave it like an 8.5 or something.
What did I give it?
I think you gave it a 6. But one guy said I was jealous of them.
I'm honestly confused.
So was I.
Jealous of what?
I was just like 3:30 in the morning. I was trying to get better at Fortnite with my buddy.
Have you ever been jealous ever in your life?
I'm sure. I must. Of course, I'm sure.
But you can't think of the time.
Well, I mean, I'm on the spot. Let's just do the song.
Let me just think of a day I wasn't.
The last time I listened to him, I was jealous.
You were.
This is sleep.
I'm like
Sleepwalking Past Hope.
He's like, all right, we're doing him, and then I looked and I'm like, a 9 fucking minute song.
We just got done listening to a 21-minute Nightwish song.
That's different. This is not floor.
All right.
I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yeah, this guy's not floor at all.
Ready?
Go!
Go.
Minor keys.
That's pretty.
Sleepwalking past hope.
You didn't like
Go
it?
ahead. Go.
I liked this one a lot better. I felt like it needed a bit more variation because it seemed kind of like the same. But I like the sound of it was two voices? Seemed like two voices?
No, I think it's the same guy.
Yeah, but he did it like
Yeah, he did.
two different sounds.
There was some typo negative happening.
Yeah, that's what I
Did you?
thought.
I gave up long ago. That part, the Kristen flow.
Yeah.
There was some
Yeah.
forgive Hall.
Yeah,
There was some
that's
of
what
that-
I thought.
Some of that going on.
I'm like, oh,
Oh.
it's just a dismal relationship song, right?
Yeah, but I think that's their. I think that's their thing. That's the whole love metal thing, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like the whole singing about relationships, but whatever. See, I feel like this band would engender a lot of very emotional kind of loyalties.
Well, you saw that in the comment section.
Yeah, but I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, if the band is like focused mostly on relationships and the pain and sorrow that goes with relationships,
Yeah.
then it'd be almost, because a lot of times like there's a record that's like a soundtrack to a certain relationship that I had in a certain time period. It was like the soundtrack for that. So
Yeah.
it's like, what if the entire band is like the soundtrack for a relationship?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even the soundtrack for love in your heart. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anytime you feel love, you associate that with this band because they're like, that's specifically what they're dealing with. So that would engender a lot of strong feelings.
That's true. Yeah.
And then somebody from the outside looking in, it's almost like trivializing the very concept of love, which is kind of big. So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking as I was listening to the song. The song didn't do it for me at all.
Not at all. You thought it was as bad as the other one?
Well, I think I just don't like that vocal style. Like at the end, he says, like at the end of his,
What was it?
he does that. I mean, I'm not gonna do it again. You're just trying to get me to.
I wanted to see you do
You're just
it.
trying to get me to do it again, and I'm not. He kind of does that during his courses, and I guess that's his trademark. But that's just. I just can't really rock with that though. Like if you go and listen back to the chorus when he sings the chorus in the first quarter of the song, like get like seriously go look. Let's go back and listen to it.
Okay. What up, babe?
You hear that?
Oh, that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that, but I.
Right here, look. I don't know.
I thought it was a laughing in the background. It didn't make any
he
sense
did that
to me.
with Join Me in Death too. I just, it's just not for me, man.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect me one way or the other.
Yeah, like it's hard for me to.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't add or
rock
take
with
away for me.
But
just there.
The thing is I'm a sucker for romantic music. Like Smashing Pumpkins, like I love that shit. I wish there was like a lot of like Smashing Pumpkins requests.
Yeah.
Because they have like the best loves, like Shakespearean level shit
Really?
that makes you just like the Smashing Pumpkins made me love the concept of love. I didn't love anybody in particular when I heard that song, when I heard the songs that they had, but it just made me love I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to like love somebody like that.
Oh.
But, I was in the throes of my, crazy in high school, so that wasn't, that really wasn't on the menu.
No.
But it, so it's not that I have an issue with love songs or things like that. It's just I just can't get with this guy's vocal style, man. I just can't do it.
Oh, I liked it. I liked his vocal.
What'd you like about the song?
I liked his vocal style. And I liked some of the words were like "Sleepwalking Past Hope," which obviously is the name of the song. But I liked the way that sounds. It's weird because like I felt a little bit like I think that the lyrics are like basic, but at the same time I still felt a little bit confused.
What do you mean?
Like I was like, I'm pretty sure we're talking about like a relationship that's not going well. Everything's unfair in our lust and war. They usually say everything's fair in love and war.
That was a pretty intelligent line. That was a pretty intelligent line and a ton of self-awareness. Mm-hmm. Because I think what he's saying is the basis of our relationship has a lot more to do with lust than it actually does with love.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, like, confuse lust for love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, like, go on a let's not be physical thingy for a month and see how the relationship goes. And then if it doesn't go well, then now you know what it was based on. You probably disagree with that.
I do disagree with that. Because, like, closeness doesn't necessarily mean lust.
No, it doesn't. But there's multiple ways of being close. Like, so for example, if a couple were dating, you wouldn't tell them that they should have sex.
No.
You tell them to wait till they were married.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if they were to say, "Oh no, it's just closeness"?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but they're not dating; they're a married couple.
What do you mean they're a
sex is
married
very
couple?
important to me, guys. That's
What do you mean they're a married couple? How do you know they're a married couple?
No, I'm saying were talking about a married couple. That
I didn't say a word about a married couple. I didn't say a married couple at all. Go rewind the tape.
You didn't say a married couple. I know.
I
assumed you were talking about a married couple because you were saying they were taking a break. But.
No, I just say it's like, you know, people don't have to be married to have sex. Sorry.
Really? I had no idea.
Right. So when I said take a break for a month and see how that goes, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know.
But married or not?
I've only ever seen married people do that.
Do what?
Take a break. Like, I've never seen people dating do that.
Well, that's because the relationships aren't strong enough to last that kind of hiatus. That's what I mean. I think that there's a lot of lust that people confuse for love. That's what I think. What? Say your opinion.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right on that. The topic just makes me feel uncomfortable because I feel like, well, you can't just make everything, like, sex doesn't necessarily mean lust. But I see what you're saying, like, lust can be, yeah.
No, it doesn't necessarily.
You know how I feel about that topic.
No, I don't. Like that, you don't. I've never heard you say that you don't think lust exists.
No, I didn't say lust doesn't exist. I'm saying that I don't think that, that sex and lust are the same thing.
When did I say that?
So when you say, well, you know, if they take a break from it and see how the relationship goes, it sounded to me that you were saying if somebody in the relationship says, hey, let's take a month off, and the other person can't handle it, then that means that their connection was lust, not love. And I don't agree with that because you don't know how sex translates to that person, because some people sex translates as like a lustful thing, and some people it's evidence of love. And lots of women are like that. Like, I've seen lots of women get themselves in sexual situations not because they loved the person, but because they wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about the lust.
Well, I think wouldn't you say that if the guy were to tell them, we don't have to be physical at all for us to have love, do you think that they would have went into those sexual situations?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I think one of them would have anyway, you're right. I don't know if that's the point you were trying to make, but yeah, I think one of them, that's what she was saying, but now I'm like, wait a minute, no. Because I did hear other things that she had to say, so. That's interesting.
Right. I think we're talking about the same person.
We all.
Right.
I'm sure.
Sure. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that couples should do that experiment. And, you know, like, when you say, like, somebody can't handle it, what does that mean? Does that mean they go off and cheat on the person? Does it mean that they go off and start watching a bunch of porn? What does can't handle it mean?
Yeah. Does it mean they're grouchy?
Yeah, like, what does that mean?
Does it mean they cry?
And so then what happens if the girl gets in a horrible car accident or contracts some terrible disease and she literally can't do it? Then what?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's different.
Then you'd say you're a selfish motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the relationship can't last without sex at all, then how is he supposed to switch gears? Or how is she supposed to switch gears?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. We're probably always going to be like on the opposite end of those spectrums as far as like what we think of the topic, because we've had past experiences or whatever.
Yeah.
We have different paradigms to it.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like that if I like bend to your thoughts on it at all, that I feel like that you could say something like, "Okay, so let's go a year with no sex." See? And I'm like, no. That's not gonna happen.
We could the time that we have that, we could be praying or reading the Bible or something.
That's true.
So I think we'd emerge from that year very healthy. Just something to think about.
Yeah. Yep.
But in this particular situation,
would you like to have more children or no? You're good with 4.
I mean,
those things don't just happen.
It's a qadar of Allah.
It's not osmosis, babe.
It's a qadar of Allah.
Yep.
So what can you do?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I mean,
I disagree stridently.
If it's in the qadar of Allah that you have more children, then you wait a year and then the next year you'd have kids.
That's true.
What?
That's true. Is there like a limit, like where you'd be like, okay, well, a year? Like if I just said, okay, you know what, I'm good with it.
I think
would you do like 5 years or?
I wouldn't. No, I would do a year and like really track it and see how see what the
We just got married in March, guys. So put that out there.
Yeah, and I've known you for almost a decade, and the vast majority of that time was completely non-physical.
Oh, I know.
How would we survive? I don't know.
No,
How
I know
did
that we could survive.
before?
I just think that the dynamics of the relationship are a bit different now.
We just got married.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, babe.
Well.
I mean.
Anyway.
I'm not a freaking nun.
I'm not a priest. What are you talking about?
But you could be. So. Anyway, why are we talking about this in front of these people anyway?
I have no idea. I don't know
how I got sucked into saying all this. Alright, focus on the song.
Love keeps. It seems like this girl is it's just a look at this. Darkness is falling because of your
We're trying to situate our apartment better because everything's really crowded. We're like, we can't like step out of bed and walk out of the room. We have to crawl off to the foot of our bed.
This fucking channel has
it's
taken
like,
over our lives.
Literally, and like we've been doing it since what, April?
Yeah.
And it's starting to like get to me. Like I'm annoyed when I have to crawl out of the bed like that to go to the bathroom, man. I'm like, are you serious? It's like a freaking. Or when I'm like, if I don't feel good or something and then you're crawling out of the bed, I'm like, I feel like I'm on like a water bed. Remember water beds? Would you ever go on a water bed?
Hmm?
Those are weird.
I would try to lay on them because there was like a big hype about them in the early 90s, and I was like, whoa, this is the ultimate in like being rich and shit.
Yeah.
And then I'd lay on them and I'd be like, man, it doesn't really seem to be as cool as I thought it was going to be.
Because you know what happens is the heavier parts of your body just sink deeper. So it's just not.
Yeah, it's not as cool as I thought it was going to be.
And if anybody moves and you're.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Then I'd like try to like, like fall down on it, and I hit my head. I hurt my head.
Do you remember that? You remember that other pastor? He was like downtown. He had there was green on his logo. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
His parents used to have one. That's where I tried it.
Yeah, it's a disaster. Waterbeds are terrible.
No, I'm like, I look back, I'm like, I can't believe they let us all crawl over their bed. You know how I am about stuff like that. It's nasty. Crawling all over your sheets. Blah.
I unlit the light to embrace the dark.
Depending on your relationship, it could be the other problem.
I unlit the light to embrace the dark, to be near but not to turn into you, my darling.
Yeah.
That's
what's he saying
very,
there?
very well. Unless you've been in one of those relationships, you have no idea. But
yeah.
I have.
Well, what is he saying?
I have.
He turned off the light to embrace the dark.
He like engaged in the dark parts of himself because she was dark, but he didn't want to go like as far as she was. But in order for her and him to be together, like he had to kind of be that type of a person. But not to turn into her.
When I heard turn into, I thought he was saying that he shut off the lights to embrace the darkness because to be near to her, but not to like turn in and like be close. Like that's what I thought it was.
The Sori train only has one destination on the ticket. That's obvious. Anyway, but not to turn into you, my darling. So like, he had to,
Yeah. Yeah, that's sad. But yeah, wow.
I've been in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty, but it's true. Like you do make those, you do make those decisions, and I'm amazed that he was that conscious
of it. Were you that conscious?
Oh, for sure,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I don't think that it's good, and I saw how destructive it was. But when he writes it like that, it sounds kind of romantic. That he would make those choices to be near to her.
Yeah, because she wouldn't come into the light.
She wouldn't, come into the light.
She just never. It just wasn't her thing, man. And like, so if you were gonna be near her, you're gonna have to get dark. That's just how it was. Forever lost in our soul storm. Reflections of each other's faults. That's interesting. So yeah, that was, so I got the song.
What about I gave up long ago painting love with crimson flow, ran out of blood and hope, so I paint you no more. So he say I was confused because like a lot of times when you think of love, you think of the color red and passion and stuff like that. But he's saying like, but it was the red was blood?
Well, I think like she was,
so
it's a very beautiful way of saying you're sucking the life out of me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like I've been in situations where I've lost blood.
Yeah.
And I've also been in situations where metaphorically, and it feels very, very similar. Because you feel your body, like you feel life coming out of your body, and you're like, whoa. And it progressively gets worse. And that's how it was. It's like, shit, shoot me. So it's that was, this guy is a very intelligent lyricist, and it seems that he was in a relationship, or there's just some people who get into relationships and it's always like this with them.
Yeah.
Like it's always like being with you, it's like not like that at all. Like there's no like, God, this girl's sucking the life out of me. It's like completely different. But people like this, so sometimes they're attracted to people who do that to them. So like,
does that give you hope that you're not that type of a person?
Well, I know what type of person I am. I know what my flaws are.
So you knew that you weren't the type of person that would get yourself continually in those type of...
Well, yeah, I mean, initially we're in high school.
Yeah.
So when you're in high school and you're, 17, 18 years old, you think, oh, I can change a person. Mm-hmm. But after over a decade and a half, you realize, nope.
Right.
Like, you're not strong enough to change anybody. You barely change yourself. Mm-hmm. And so... so obviously with you, I think we both kind of look at our own issues and are trying to change ourselves. We're not trying to force the other person to, whatever. So, yeah. So I got that. I even got the typo thing, and then he started talking about the devil, and I just didn't understand, like, why would you bring up the devil?
I was confused on this part too. My hell begins from the 10th and descends to the circle.
Well, Dante's, circles of hell.
Oh. 603, so
666. And he crawls beneath Lucifer's claustrum in the last case. I'm assuming he's saying that he's sleeping with the devil or something like that. In a metaphorical sense, not the literal sense.
No, because she surrounded herself with so much darkness, and he said like he had to go to that level, and so then it's starting to like weigh on him, because he just said in the thing before, like I paint you no more, but then after he says like I can't do this anymore, then he says my hell be, but he goes in again. He can't help himself, even though he knows it's that destructive, but he does it. Why? For one last kiss, because inside there's he still has something there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those relationships are difficult to extricate yourself from, especially if you're the dude.
Yeah, I bet.
Because she's always sad.
Yeah.
She's always depressed. She
Right.
always needs rescuing.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how destructive she is. Like and the people around you, it's always like, oh, you know, like, you don't want to end a relationship with the
Yeah.
goth girl who cuts herself and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And you don't.
Right.
And it's hard because she's not necessarily doing it to manipulate you. It's just, that's how she is.
Sometimes she does, though.
Well. And of course, you were able to see it. I wasn't able to see, you know, everything. And of course, you're going to be more cynical about her than I would be because, you know, whatever. But
Yeah.
I do think there was probably moments of manipulation, but I also just think that it was just.
I think it's some of both.
I think it's a, you know, I always say everybody's a cocktail of, you know, a lot of motivations, but I don't think that was the main motivation most of the time. To me, most of the time it was just, you know, people are just, I think at some point certain people make certain decisions that they're just going to be in darkness. They're not going to step out and they're just going to be like that. But they don't. It's this weird thing where they want to be dark, but they don't want to be alone. And then if you end up with that person, it's just it's tough, and it's tough to get yourself out of that relationship. You know.
Yeah.
Because,
Oh yeah. I bet.
You know, and of course.
Well, if you're a certain type of person, because there's people that have backed out of relationships for much more small things. I mean, that's why you said, like, that verse, like, you couldn't just divorce your wife over, like, you know, burnt toast. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be something significant. So there are people that would be very easy for them to say, you know what? But then there are other people. Like, you're a very sensitive person.
Those people wouldn't even be attracted to a person like that. They
Really?
wouldn't even, no, they wouldn't.
But aren't
the burnt toast people would never.
This is me. Here goes my train. Back to that station. Aren't these people usually like the type of people that, like, they're, like, really freaky in bed and stuff like that? So, like, that's what I've heard. Like, and they're, like, the more, like, crazy somebody is, usually the better they are, like, in the sheets and stuff. So, like, maybe they would start the relationship because it was like, oh, this is some freaky fun. But then it's like, wow, okay, this is a lot more than I bargained for.
Nah, that's not how dudes operate. Dudes don't go, shit, here's the girl with a bunch of problems and a bunch of baggage, but I'm sure she's going to be really freaky, so that's not how dudes are, because honestly,
well, no, I would think that it happens the other way. They don't realize how much baggage there is because...
No, we know. Dudes know, like, that girl has a fucking hiker level fucking LL Bean bag worth of fucking baggage.
Like, where is he going? Hiker?
You're going to fucking Mount Everest with the baggage on that girl.
Oh my gosh,
So,
really?
yeah,
you think all guys realize that?
I talk to him. We know. And we go, stay away from that broad. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's why those people are always generally alone. That's why they're all lonely all the time.
Oh, wow.
You don't see, like, a line of dudes lining up to be with girls like this. It's only a certain type of dude that's attracted to a certain type of girl like that.
Wow.
So when you get entangled in that type of relationship, it's very difficult to get out. Extremely difficult to get out.
But see, if you're attracted to that, how come you didn't think you would be attracted to that again? Because you learned?
Well, I was 17 at the time.
Right.
So, you know, 17-year-old Vin is a little bit different than 30-year-old Vin.
Yeah, I didn't know 17-year-old Vin, so... Like, 30-year-old Vin is...
You're a lucky young lady.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't you think... Looking at what, like... Wouldn't 30-year-old Vin be more susceptible to, like, feeling bad and helping somebody and taking care of somebody than 17-year-old Vin?
No, it's not the aspect so much of taking care of somebody. It was more like the aspect of, okay, we can change this. This is bad, very dark all the time, blah.
Yeah.
But we can change this.
Oh, the hope of youth.
If I'll show, like, unconditional love, then this will change, and, you know, she'll not want to be whatever. Mm-hmm. Now I've come to the realization that it's a real arrogant thing to think that your love is going to change somebody. So I don't have that idea. It doesn't matter how much you love a person. Unless they want to change, they're not going to change. Mm-hmm. And unless they see something is necessary to change, they won't change.
No, it's true. I was out today and I was, like, driving around bringing the kids all over, the place. And like, there was this guy leaving the library, and he's like, all right, he's telling his little girl to let's go. She was like probably 4 or 5 years old. He was like, come on, let's go. And she was like, her facial expression didn't change at all. She looked up on that thing. She wanted to, how they can climb up and walk on that ledge? She wanted to walk on that ledge. And he was like, all right, I'm leaving without you. And she was like, she didn't even bat an eye. She jumped up there. She walked across the same speed she wanted to. She stepped down. When she was good and ready, she went over to her father and crossed the street with him. And I was like, that right there is exactly how it is. Like, you can manipulate somebody's behavior by, like, right now, that's like, we're like trying to train like our one kid that he won't listen. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. He gets grounded. It doesn't matter if you give him extra chores. It doesn't matter. He wants to do what he wants to do. And like, it's like impossible to get him to change right now. But, like, people are who they are, and they're going to do what they want to do. And like, I didn't really believe you when you first were telling me that. But now I'm like, you know what?
You didn't believe what?
Because you were saying that, like, about people. Like, that people are, like, what the heck was that?
Nobody knows. If the what?
Like, for instance, like, I was required to live a certain way growing up. And my mom used to say, you would sit down on the outside, but on the inside, we knew you were standing up. And she was right. Like, in my heart, I was rebelling against so much because I hated that level of rules. Now, my sister, she was great under that. My brother, he did all right himself too, from what I can see. He was younger than me, but anyway, so like, when I got to a certain age, I did what I was going to do, regardless of, you know what I mean? Like, so people do what they're going to do. So, I mean, I don't know where I was going with it. Oh, that person, like this type of a destructive person, like, you can do everything outside and try to create environments so they're going to see. And I remember having conversations with a very destructive person, and I would think that because I would be like, whoa, that was like really wise. That was really good what I just said, like.
And it was.
But they didn't want to change.
Yeah.
So fuck you to me, and that's it, And it would be surprising sometimes because you'd think, oh yeah, like we're going to be good friends now. Like, I really helped them out. And no. Like, if the person doesn't want to change, they're not going to change. And you can blood, sweat, and toil all over the place trying to get them to change. But if they don't really want to, and we saw the same thing working downtown. Like, I remember, like the person didn't want to get help. And I didn't realize it. This was like my first dealing with something like that, and she was like, oh, I really want to go get it. But the thing is, I don't have any toothpaste, toothbrush, clothes, all my stuff is at the place. So I'm like, okay, well, I tried that. If you bring them to the place, they don't come back out. So I'm like, oh, I'll stop at the store, get you everything, and setting up everything that they were like, oh, this is a problem, giving them solutions for everything. You drop them off, they're there less than a day. They didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
You got to just realize what people want to change are going to change. And if they don't, they're not going to. And you have to have a drive, an internal drive to be like so sick of it. Like, there's things in my life that I'm like things that I've gotten sick of where I'm like, all right, that's it. Like, but then there's other things where I'm like, that's a problem. But I don't have the drive yet.
That's obvious.
Yeah. And I know it would be easier on you, but...
Lesson learned, ladies and gentlemen. Love ain't gonna change a person. All right, well, what do you get the song?
I'm actually going between an 8 and an 8.5. I guess probably... No, I'm sorry. I was going between a 7.5 and an 8. I think I'm gonna go with a 7.5 because it just didn't really have that much variation in sonically. I needed something high or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I just it's a 6.5 for me. I thought it was intelligent writing. It was ironic, which I love irony. Mm-hmm. I think this band, one of the strengths of the band is like the chorus. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't as melodic as I thought it would be. The song didn't really go anywhere for me. Mm-hmm. Lyrically, though, I thought it was extremely intelligent. So it's a 6.5.
Maybe it's because you have ill feelings toward this topic.
No, I usually rate those high.
True. All right, well,
that's why I rated Snuff so high.
There you have it. Sorry.
We're open to another HIM. We are.
Luckily, I liked this one enough
We
where
did
I'm
Judas
open
Priest.
as well.
Judas Priest. We did 3 listens before we liked it. So
Yep.
maybe by the 3rd listen, we'll really like it.
There you go.
Been out.
Sorry out.
Gone.
Sweet